welcome to Inner Peace Arts Unscripted. I'm your host, James Coleman, where if you're attending the presentation, you're open to the truth as it can be known, following in new ideas and actions, making for a better way of life. Today I'm going to be talking about pausing and also offering corrections in the series. Now, typically I would probably redo things because of the corrections, but this time I'm leaving the corrections in as an object lesson of this interplay with your subconscious and how it can offer corrections, and oftentimes we fight with it and say, no, this is how it's supposed to be, and then inside there's this something that just says this is what it's supposed to be and this is what's right, and conscious mind, I don't know what your problem is, but this is what it is. So the series that we're doing is actually plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. And I think there's been this resistance in me to actually come out and call it programming. Programming has a very negative, I think, what's the word for it? Negative feel in English right now, even though we have, programmers that are software programmers, and that's fine. But programming people seems to be not cool. But I'm actually moving past that now and am calling it programming because that's actually what it is. And I think if I do call it programming, it's a kind of moving in line with how culture, at least Western culture, has been using this term and taking it over for personal use. So the TV program, right, is designed to program people so that they will sit there and wait for the advertisement and get programmed by the advertisement to want the object advertised. And now I'm making the claim that this programming should be under your own control, and you decide what programming you want happening inside of you. So in a sense, this is an extension of the last video in this series where I called it prepare. And I think that was a nice euphemism that rose up unconsciously. But it's plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. That's what it is. And I am settling in that now. And you are seeing the settling, right? And seeing how, the unconscious can, get you to do something that is, still correct, but not quite right, not what it needs to be, and or how your conscious mind interferes with what your subconscious is doing, and can force, not kind of saying, oh, call it prepare because that's a better term. No, call it programming. That's what it is. Plan, program, pause, perform, perfect, and that's what it is. Today we're talking about pause. And the pause is pretty self-evident. It's pretty much like just do something else. Lots of creativity studies have shown that, by working on a problem, and if it doesn't get solved, that day, you put it down, you come back to it the next day, and all of a sudden you have fresh new ideas ready to go and are able to make some progress on the problem. So this is not new, this is not rocket science, but it's something to be done. And I've noticed that it's actually true. You hear about, we should do this, do that, and you go, yeah, like what's that going to do? It actually makes a difference. I mean, your subconscious mind, unconscious mind is constantly working. There is no off button. And when you sleep, it's working. So because there's no off button and your conscious mind has a definite off button. It's important to intend to turn off from a given problem, from a given concentration of effort, to just let it sit. And that's how the programming gets in place. So, you have, say you're using affirmations, right? Affirmations may not instantly make you more confident, right? But you continue to say certain things to yourself and go through exercises of self-talk and correction. And then you find yourself doing some things automatically all of a sudden. And you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Well, you crossed some threshold, some emergent process came into being, and it was because you were, you gave it a little rest. And you acted, rested, and then it happened. We don't understand how we're able to learn. We just know that we can, and we know we have techniques to enable better learning. But the actual process itself, we don't know really how it works. And that's why it's, the learning process is different for everybody, why people progress at different rates, right? So there's nothing wrong with, the not knowing. You work with what you do know. And what we do know is that pausing is important. Take a break, go for a walk, hang out, do work on some other unrelated project. So if you're working on, a house project, cook, because that's not a house project. And if cooking is a house project, well, don't cook. Find something else to do. Ride on your bike, swing from the chandeliers, whatever you need to do. But take that break. The break is important and will help you solve the problem. I can assure you this is true. This is me in my monotone voice. Do it, do it, do it. Because pausing oftentimes doesn't seem to make sense, right? But remember, if their learning is rewiring, and experience is rewiring, and the taking of an experience and making it broadly available for application is a rewiring, right, of the brain, right, and a rewiring of how the body is interacting with the brain, right? So I don't think we know everything about, the interactions between, those clusters of nerves and neuronal kind of activity, like, the brain, your heart, your back, your stomach, and the kids always get a kick out of that, but the private parts have lots of centers there and seem to have their own brains, so we put that in there just for truth's sake, if not for discussion, since we won't be discussing that too much here in the pause section. But if that's something you want to do while you pause, hey, be my guest. But that's what I'm sharing today. So basically today was a sharing of correction. Plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. Plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. And I'm now being open about the programming piece, which is interesting because I had come up with a framework about 4 years ago where self-programming was in the framework explicitly. But now that things are moving in a more public direction, I can feel the resistance of, I can say this, but I can't say that, and this interaction with my thoughts about how the world is perceiving this. And listen, I share that to say that this stuff is real. It works, and that there's a growing process that you have to be able to go through to get to the next steps. And that process is, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but it's unfamiliar. And it's being comfortable in that unfamiliarity such that you can see mistakes, see where you need to move forward, and do the things that you need to do. And, and creating programs for that, and statements that help with doing that. So at some point I'll have a big affirmation party where we go through some of the statements that have worked for me and that have helped others and how to create them. But now we're just going through the framework and getting an idea of what it is, and actually, at least for me, settling into the truth of it. So it's plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. Lots of P's, 5 of them, and by now you should know them. Plan, program, pause, perform, perfect. And we've gone through 3 of them. We've gone through planning, we've gone through programming, which we called prepare, okay, just so that we know what was happening there. Prepare and pause. So the next 2 are going to be about performance and perfecting. James Coleman, Inner Peace Arts. The blog is at innerpeacearts.wordpress.com. Facebook and Twitter, innerpeacearts1, and email me at innerpeacearts at protonmail.com. Yavarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'choneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. In distinction, thanks be to stream, in stream, by stream.